Very touching subject. But guess what? If we're afraid to talk about subjects, guess what? Then all the countries and all the people and every nationality and tongue is going to continue to be in literacy and ignorance and guess what? And poverty. Now, God had no intention for us to be in poverty. Now, poor, some people, it's okay to be poor, okay? But poverty is beyond poor. Poverty to the point you can't afford even tissue. And you know how low tissue is. You got folks that's poor, they can afford a whole household full of stuff. And they can still make a living and still have some cash in the bank. It may not be $100,000, but still, they happy, okay? Middle class, when someone got like $500,000 in the bank, that's middle class. But when you believe the poverty level, that means you can't even go left or right because now you have the court of the enemy pulling you. And God wants us out of that. And I don't know if you ever heard of the theory called come out from beneath your privileges. It's like come out, you're too low, you're too deep into the pit. Remember God used Joseph. Joseph was used as when his brothers put in the pit. But guess what? This nation was considered Joseph. When Jessica, remember Jessica, baby Jessica, in the 80s, was put in the pit. She fell in it and they took out. Now recently we had the men in the mines. That was a reference only to Joseph. Well, every time something like that happens, it affects the whole world. And we are the seed, the promise of Abraham, okay? And we are the children of Abraham that comes out of him, okay? And that means that anything that happens to one of us, it affects the whole nation. So recently when the men went into the mine, the reason why they couldn't die, because God was with them, because they're Joseph's. And every time Joseph get in a pit, God raised them up and put them in a king's seat. See, remember when Potiphar put Joseph in a king's seat? Gave him, after all the years he'd been persecuted, he'd been lied to, his wife lied and said, Potiphar's wife, and said he raped it, that Joseph raped her and all of that. We have to come to acknowledgement of the truth. Because I'm not trying to get a Bible study here, but I'm just trying to get enlightenment for everybody to understand why we're going through what we're going through in our country, because everything that God established in the Old Testament is coming to pass and line up with the New Testament. And it's being fulfilled. And we're just walking into it. So now, a lot of people's like, oh, Obama, he cool and all of that. Years ago, they said that Bush was the Antichrist. They were scared. So now, nobody knew that Bush and Obama are cousins.
Yeah, I did that too.
See?
You just dropped the...
Yeah, they're cousins. They're related. They are related. But nobody knows that all the little stuff that everything they were doing was pre-planned. Everything was pre-planned. The debates are pre-planned, everything. See, remember, if you raise up a household together, okay, someone is going to be elected. And even though they all agree that they all are good, but one of them is going to have to agree that we choose him, okay? And it doesn't matter what the people on the outside say. The Father made the choice who was going to win. So God decided Obama was going to be the king of our nation. Because remember, he started off as a Christian. He became Buddhist. Then he turned from Buddhist into Muslim. So understand that God is allowing us to see where this all comes from. It came when Nebuchadnezzar, remember King Nebuchadnezzar, who put the slaves and the Jews into slavery? But God brought Daniel. Remember Rashach, Meshach, and Abednego? They called the fiery furnace, the brother of the Hebrew boys in the fiery furnace. Okay. They had Nebuchadnezzar, which is the king that was chosen those days. He had dreams. So remember when Joseph went to, Joseph was supposed to interpret the dreams of Pharaoh. You see how this cycle just keep repeating itself from the Joseph stage back down to Nebuchadnezzar? And Nebuchadnezzar began to have a dream, and God used Daniel to interpret his dream. And as he interpreted his dream, he used to bless them, because that shows you that a king, they still hear God's voice. So in the last days, God showed me when I was in California that I will pour my spirit on all flesh, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy. And then all of a sudden, he said that you should see the vapors of smoke. He's going to allow us to see the smoke and everything. We're in a time and a season of those things being manifested. So now we understand that everything that is happening is a repeat of all those things that was all in the past. Because remember, Hitler put the Jews into captivity and put them into the Holocaust. It was just Nebuchadnezzar's spirit operating. Yes, Father. He had King Herod too. King Herod came after Moses first and killed the 2 year-olds. Then years ago, they lived to be like 500 years of age.
Right, right.
And throughout the earth, they continue on, and they started messing with Jesus. When Jesus was 2 years of age, he had to flee because he had to go out into the land of Galilee. He was born in Nazareth, but because the King Herod was after him. Everything we going through in this life is a pre-cycle. Yes, Father. Okay, I'm sensitive in the spirit. In Isaiah 41, in 42, he said, let them do their former things. So that's why everybody doing the break dance all over again, and all these old hairstyles and fashions and stuff, and they singing all these remakes of old songs and freestyling and put into hip hop. Because hip hop used to be rap back in the day. It's just more faster beat now, and God did it on purpose. It's because he wanted them to do the former things so he can do a new thing in his own people. It's all detailed there in the book of Isaiah. It is very interesting to see everything that we go through in life is already in that book. So if any book that I pull out first was that Bible, because I keep my Bible in my purse, but I keep on reality, because remember, God chose. He chose the kings and queens. So now we have to know how God's dealing with them and how the voice of God is dealing and how he's speaking through them. Because Nebuchadnezzar was an evil man, but God still gives him prophetic dreams, which Daniel had to prophesy and had to interpret them. So that goes to show you that they could still be evil and God's still talking to them.
Yeah.
We can't judge them.
Very true. Very
We can't judge them. And I heard the Lord say for 2 years, teach them, because I taught you much. Teach them. I went to 3 Bible schools, and I went to school of prophets, and I'm ordained. I'm an ordained minister myself. But God kept saying for 2 years, teach them. I taught you much. It's because he knows that the world don't know no better. They under this system where the world talks, and the world is not giving details. So what do they have? They have that Jezebel has her prophets. Now, you not notice that all these female typhoons start coming behind Donald Trump and start teaching the Trinity broadcast of God's children, and they not of God. They don't read no Bible. They don't know nothing about no Bible. It's because they're Jezebel's prophets. And the church is rebellion because God said take no counsel from them. So God told me to step in. He said, I taught you because what God did, he had my people to create Hollywood. And they were businessmen. They were entrepreneurs. And they was apostles. So that's how Elvis Presley and all of them came out of these churches. And that's how they started music, because they were professors too. And they began to, Hollywood started giving them more actors, and productive companies started giving them Gilligan's Island in order to honor my family. And that's how they got the professors. I came out the family. My mother's side has come from Julie Garland's side of the family. Julie Garland is not her real name. She's a Gup. And my mom, all of them, my granddaddies and uncles, they all Gum family. So, and I'm multicultural. See, so, and from there, yes, I am. My dad is part Liberian, British, and Korean. A lot of combinations, right? Yeah, but God said for me to teach it, because a lot of things a lot of people didn't know is that God had his own chosen people to show the world how to live. But if we take counsel from the ungodly, they could teach you a little bit, taking a little bit from godly people, because remember, Satan is considered the thief, and he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But if God's people do what they're supposed to do, guess what? He won't be able to do it. And he's like, those Christians, I hate them. And every time God is being glorified through obedience to his own children, guess what? We tear down his kingdom. And his children, guess what? Here come God. He gave them a great famine. So the problem that is going on in our economy is because I did what God told me to do. And that's why like, this is a comedy issue. No, it's called a famine. But God said in the 37 Psalms through the word of God, through King David, that we shall be satisfied in the days of famine. You understand? Thank you. It's nice talking to you.
I think I
Nice
appreciate
talking to you. Yeah.
The jewel right there.
Yes. I want to talk to you. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself, young man.
I'm A.O. Appreciate it. Atlanta 2011. Appreciate the talk. Thank you.
Okay, and today's topic is about that our library is not what they used to be because we got the tradition out the library. Now we have a social gathering of people. We talking politics and different things. We come along.